In the previous episode we have learnt what are the different types of terrestrial plants. There are 4 types of terrestrial plants, that is plants of plains, plants of hilly areas, plants of marshy areas and desert plants. So in this episode we will learn about the second type of plants, that is aquatic plants. So we will learn about aquatic plants. Aquatic plants. So what are aquatic plants? So the word aqua. So the word aqua means water. So the word aqua means water. So that's why the plants which grow in the water are called aquatic plants. So that's why the name came from the word aqua. So that's why the plants are named as aquatic plants. So because these plants will grow near or inside the water. So if you go to a park or garden or any entertainment area, so you will observe small ponds and small lakes, especially in villages or nearby schools. If you go to a nearby ponds or lakes, you will observe there are small plants which are growing in the ponds and also lakes. So those plants which will grow inside the plant and those plants which grow inside the water and near the water are called aquatic plants. So in aquatic plants there are 3 types of plants. So the aquatic plants are 3 types. So the first type is floating plants. The first type is floating plants. And the second type is fixed plants. Fixed plants. And the third type is submerged plants. Submerged plants. So there are 3 types of aquatic plants. So the 3 types are, the first one is floating plants, and the second one is fixed plants, and the third one is submerged plants. So these are the 3 types of aquatic plants. Now let us discuss about the first type of plants, that is floating plants. So what are floating plants? What is floating plants? Floating plants. So floating. So the plants which will float on the surface of the water are called floating plants. So if you observe ponds or lakes in villages or nearby house or nearby your school, you will observe some plants are growing and they live on the surface of the water. So those plants which live or which grow on the surface of the water are called floating plants. The plants which will grow on the surface of the water are called floating plants. And these plants have a less stem. So these plants have very less stem and their roots are poorly developed. So the roots are poorly developed, that means the roots are not large and the roots are not inside, not goes to the inside the water. So their roots are very less and the roots are not properly developed. So their roots are less developed or poorly developed. So the examples for the floating plants are, so we will observe so many types of plants that are floating on the surface of the water of the ponds and lakes in our villages or nearby houses. So the common examples for the floating plants are water hyacinth. So the common example is water hyacinth. So look at the picture. So in the picture you are observing a water hyacinth, and this plant will grow on the surface of the water, especially in the wastewater, in the ponds or canals, especially in wastewater drainages. So especially the ponds or canals which have wastewater, on the surface of that wastewater we will commonly observe this water hyacinth. So in picture you are observing a water hyacinth, and the second example is for the water floating plants are Gesia. So look at the picture. So in the picture you are observing one type of, that is another type of floating plant. So its name is Gesia. And the third example for the floating plants. Third example for the floating plant is lemma. Lemma. So lemma is the another example for the floating plants. So look at the picture. So the picture you are observing a lemma plant. So these are the examples, that water hyacinth, Gesia, lemma. So all these are examples for the plants which will grow on the surface of the water. So especially, how can they float on the water? So how can we float on the water means they have a broad leaves. They have leaves, and that's why they will float on the surface of the water. So this is about floating plants. So the second type of aquatic plants. The second type of aquatic plants is fixed plants. Fixed plants. So fixed means the roots of these plants will fix into the soil present under the water. So that's why these plants are called fixed plants. So the roots of these plants are fixed into the soil under the water. So that's why these plants are called fixed plants. And these plants have a broad leaves. Especially these plants have broad leaves and long stems. So these plants have broad leaves and long stems, and these stems contains air cavities. Air cavities. So that's why these plants will float on the water. So that's why these plants will float on the water, because the stems of these plants are filled with air. That means the stems, inside the stems, the plants have the stems, and inside the stems there are some gaps are left in the stems, and those gaps are filled with air. Those are called air cavities. So because of these air cavities, these plants will float on the surface of the water. And the examples for the fixed plant is, so the common example is lotus. Lotus. So look at the picture. So you are observing a lotus. All of us know about lotus. The lotus is a very beautiful flower, and it will has a more importance, and it will also used in temples. So that's why it has importance in our Hindu mythologies. So this lotus temple, if you observe the lotus temple, so the lotus temple has a broad leaves under it. So this is about lotus. And another example for fixed plant is trapa. Trapa. So look at the picture. So you are observing another plant for the fixed example for the fixed plant. So that is a trapa. So this is also example for the fixed plant. So these plants also have a broad leaves and long stems, and because of the air cavities present in their stems, they will float on the water surface. And the third example for the fixed plant is water lily. Water lily. So all of you know the water lily, it is a white color flower, big flower. So we can observe this lotus and water flowers on the surface of the water, especially in the ponds and lakes. If you go to gardens or parks or amusement parks, there you can observe this water lily and lotus. So these are the examples for the fixed plants. So the third type of aquatic plants is submerged plants. Submerged plants. So submerged means completely sink in the water. So those plants which are grown completely inside the water. So those plants which are present completely inside the water are called submerged plants. So that means the whole body of these plants is completely sink in the water. The whole body of the plant, that means the whole, including leaves and flowers. So all the body parts of the plant will present inside the water. So those plants which will grow completely inside the water are called submerged plants. And examples for the submerged plants is, the first example is hydrilla. Hydrilla. So all of you look at the picture. So the picture is showing a plant called hydrilla. So if you observe the picture, the hydrilla plant have a very small leaves and they have a soft stems. So hydrilla have a small leaves and a soft stem. That means their stem is very flexible. So because the stem is flexible, so it can bear the water waves and water currents, and it cannot move along with the water. So this flexible stem, this soft stem helps the hydrilla to bear the water currents produced in the ponds or rivers or lakes. And this hydrilla has one special property and a special feature as a hydrilla, that is it cleans the water. So this hydrilla cleans the water. So it is present inside the water and it will cleanse the water. How it can cleanse the water? So that means it removes the carbon dioxide present in the water. So removes carbon dioxide present in the water. So that means it intakes the carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. So in this way, the hydrilla plant clean the water by removing the carbon dioxide present in the water and releases oxygen. So it takes carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. So that's why these plants are very helpful for the aquatic animals like fishes. So because these plants releases oxygen, and this oxygen will be very helpful for the aquatic animals like fishes to survive in the water bodies just like ponds or lakes. So hydrilla cleans the water by taking carbon dioxide and they releases oxygen. This released oxygen is very helpful to the aquatic animals. And the second example for the submerged plants is Vallisneria. So Vallisneria. So look at the picture. Here the picture is showing a Vallisneria plant. So if you observe carefully the Vallisneria plant, so the Vallisneria plant has a ribbon-like leaves, Whereas the hydrilla plant has very small leaves, whereas the Vallisneria plant has ribbon-like leaves. That means the leaves are in ribbon-like shapes, and the leaves are very long. So both hydrilla and Vallisneria has some opposite features. That is, hydrilla has a small leaves and Vallisneria has a long leaves. And hydrilla has a narrow leaves, whereas Vallisneria has a ribbon-like leaves. So these are the two examples for the submerged plants. So because of these plants present inside the water, so these plants are very helpful to the aquatic animals because they release oxygen, and the released oxygen is very helpful to survive the aquatic animals in the water bodies like ponds and rivers. So this is about the third type of aquatic plants, submerged plants. So children, up to now we have discussed two types of plants. So that is terrestrial plants, and the second one is aquatic plants. Now the last type of plants, that is the third type of plants, are insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants. So what are insectivorous plants? So if you observe the word insectivorous, here the word insect means insects, and the remaining word, that is vorous, means eating. So insectivorous means insects eating. So that's why these plants eat insects. So that's why these plants are called insectivorous plants, because these plants eat insects and flies just like that. So that's why these plants are named as insectivorous plants, and these plants are also called as carnivorous plants. So another name for these plants is carnivorous plants. So there are two names for these plants. One is insectivorous plants, and these plants has also another name as carnivorous plants. So the examples for the insectivorous plants are, the first one is pitcher plant. Pitcher. So pitcher plant. So if you observe the pitcher plant image, so look at the picture. So the pitcher plant, you are observing the image of pitcher plant here. So especially these insectivorous plants have different colors and looking very beautiful. So because of their beautifulness and because of their colors, different colors, the insects are easily attracted by these plants. So these plants have some special features. That means their leaves, their stems have different structures. So because of their different structures, they can easily catch the insects, and they have different colors. So and looking very beautiful. So easily the insects are attracted for these colors and come to near these plants by attracting these colors, and they easily trapped by these plants. So look at the picture. In this picture you are observing a pitcher plant. So here the word pitcher means a jar. So these plants contains a jar-like structure. So look at the picture. In the picture you are observing a jar-like structure. That means you are observing a sac. So especially in this plant, the leaves are modified and some of the roots. So some of the leaves are modified into this jar-like structure. So that's why that jar-like structure is also called pitcher. So this jar-like structure, that means the pitcher has a sweet fluid, that means a sweet syrups are contained in the pitcher. So because of this sweet fluid, that means it is sweet syrups, the insects are easily attracted by these sweet syrups and come inside the pitcher to eat that sweet syrup. So when the insects come into the syrup, they will fall into the pitcher and the pitcher will be closed by the lid. So if you observe carefully the picture, there is a lid-like structure for the pitcher at the upper part. So the pitcher is nothing but a jar-like structure or a sack-like structure. This pitcher contains a sweet syrup or a sweet fluids, and this sweet fluid is especially to attract the insects. So by smelling this sweet syrups, the insects easily comes to this pitcher and they fell down into the pitcher. When they fell down into the pitcher will be closed by a lid-like structure. Then the plant will digest the insect and it will absorb the nutrients from the insects. So especially these plants, they cannot prepare food by the process of photosynthesis because these plants does not contains green colored parts. So photosynthesis will take place only in the green colored parts of the plant. But this insectivorous plants does not have any green colored parts. That's why the photosynthesis process will not take place in this type of plants and they cannot prepare their food. So they cannot prepare their food just by they depends upon the insects. So their structure will be modified so as to trap the insects. So in pitcher plant, the leaves are modified into a pitcher, and when the insects fall into the pitcher, the plant will kill that insects and digest their insect and it will absorb the nutrients from the insect. So this is one example for the insectivorous plants. And the second example for the insect plants is sundew plant. Sundew plant. Sundew plant. So look at the picture. Have you ever seen the sundew plant? So look at the pictures. The picture, you are observing a sundew plant. So it's very nice and looking very beautiful. So if you observe the picture, you are observing a hair-like structures around its leaves. So if you carefully observe the picture, this sundew plant has leaves and around the leaves there are hair-like structures. And at the end of each hair there is a gum ball. So this gum ball will easily attract the insects. When the insect come near to this leaf, they will stick to the insect. So when the insect come near to the leaves, it will fold the insect and kill the insect and it will digest the insect and it will absorb the nutrients. So this is about sundew plant. So sundew plant especially it has hair-like structures having a gum ball at the end of the hairs. So when the insect come near to this sundew plant, it will fold. Its leaf will be folded the insect and kill the insect, and it will eat the insect. So this is about a sundew plant. And the third example for the insectivorous plant is Venus flytrap. Venus flytrap. So look at the picture. The picture, you are observing a Venus flytrap. So these carnivorous plants have different structures and different sizes. They are very interesting and looking very beautiful because to attract the insects in such a way. Venus flytrap. So Venus flytrap is an example for insectivorous plants. This plant also eats insects. So look at the picture. You are observing two blades. That means in these plants the leaves are modified into two blades. At the edge of each blade, you are observing a spikes-like structures. That means a spike-like structure. So when the insect enter the blades, inside the blade, it will snap, it will make a snap shut the insect, and the insect cannot come outside the blades. It will completely closes the insect and kill the insects and finally eat the insect. So in this way, the Venus flytrap may snap shut the insect when it comes in between the blades of their leaves. So in this plant, the leaves, there are no leaves. The leaves are modified into two blades. At the edge of each blade, there are spike-like structures. So when the insect enters into the in between the two blades, then it will close and it will kill the insect and it will eat the insect. So in this way, insectivorous plants eats the insects and it depends upon the insects, and they does not prepare their food by using photosynthesis process. So that's why they depend upon the insects. To attract the insects, each plant has each modification. That means each plant has different types of structures, different types of features, so as to attract the insects. So children, in this chapter, up to now we have discussed different types of plants, that is terrestrial plants, aquatic plants and insectivorous plants, and also discussed the different types of plants and examples for those plants. So let us see once again the glossary of this chapter, that means the summary of the chapter in the way of a simple flow chart. So let us see the flow chart or a summary of this chapter which is describing the different types of plants and examples. So with the help of this flow chart, we can easily remember the different types of plants and the examples for those. So let us see the plants. The plants are divided into three types. So first of all, the plants are divided into three types, and first one is terrestrial plants. So terrestrial plants, and the second one is aquatic plants. So aquatic plants, and the third type is insectivorous plants. So insectivorous plants. So these are the different types of plants which are divided based on their habitats. So again, the terrestrial plants are divided into four types. So let us see the different kinds of terrestrial plants. So the first type is desert plants, and the second type is plants of plains. That means the plants which grow in plain areas, and the plants of marshy areas, and the plants of hilly areas. So these are the different types of terrestrial plants. Four types of terrestrial plants: desert plants, plants of plains, and plants of marshy areas, and plants of hilly areas. And again, aquatic plants are divided into three types. So, and the first type is floating plants. So floating plants, and the second type is fixed plant. So fixed plants. And the third one is submerged plants. Submerged plants. So this is the classification of plants. So this chart explains the classification of plants. So the plants are divided into three types based on their habitats: terrestrial plants, aquatic plants, and insectivorous plants. And again, terrestrial plants are divided into four types: And aquatic plants are again divided into three types. And let us see the examples, two examples for each one. So the desert plants, the example is cactus and palm trees. And the examples for the plants which grow in plain area are mango trees and banyan trees and peepal trees, etc. And the plants which grow in marshy areas are mangroves. And the plants which grow in hill areas are pine trees and spruce trees and fir trees. So these are the examples for the plants which grow in hilly areas. So let us see the examples for the aquatic plants. So the examples for the floating plants are, so let us see the examples for the floating plants. So that is, so example for floating plants are, so duckweed plants and water hyacinth, etc. And the examples for the fixed plants are lotus and water lily, etc. And examples for the submerged plants are hydrilla and vallisneria. And we have already discussed the examples for the insectivorous plants. So insectivorous plants, the examples are pitcher plant and sundew plant and Venus flytrap. So these are the examples for insectivorous plants. So this is the summary of the chapter green plants. So if you read this chapter by drawing this flowchart, we can easily remember the different types of plants and examples in a single page.
Children, let us do some activities in the exercise part. So the first activity is answer these questions. Some questions are given in this activity. So we have to write the answers for the given questions. So children, read the first question. So what are terrestrial plants? Name any 3 terrestrial plants. So children, read the question again. What are terrestrial plants? Name any 3 terrestrial plants. Children, in the starting of the lesson we have already discussed the different types of plants. That is, there are 3 types of plants mainly: terrestrial plants, aquatic plants and insectivorous plants. And again, the terrestrial plants are classified into 4 types. That is, the desert plants, plants of plains, plants of hilly areas, plants of marshy areas. So these 4 are the different types of terrestrial plants. So let us see the answer for the given question. So children, read the answer. Plants live on land are called terrestrial plants. Example: mango tree, coconut tree and salt tree. So these are the examples for terrestrial plants. So those plants which live on the land are called terrestrial plants. So the terrestrial plants examples are mango tree, coconut tree and salt tree. So children, note down this question and answer in your notebook. Children, see the second question. So read the second question. How does a desert plant adapt itself to desert conditions? Children, do you remember the conditions in desert areas? We have already discussed in the chapter. So in desert, the climate is very hot and the soil is full of sand and the availability of water is very, very less. That means the water present in the deeper regions of the soil. And the climate is hot, the temperature is very, very hot. So the plants which grown in that desert areas have to adopt to some features to survive in that unfavorable climatic conditions. So let us see how does a desert plant adapt itself to desert conditions. So let us see the answer. So children, read the answer. The desert plant has leaves which are reduced to spines. This helps in reducing the loss of water from the leaves. So children, so what features the desert plant adopt to survive in the desert? The first one is the desert plants does not have leaves, just like general other plants. Because if the leaves are present to a tree, then water will be lost through the leaves through the process called respiration. So if the water is lost in the desert plants, then they does not survive because the water is not available in the desert. So that's why in desert plants there are no leaves and leaves are reduced to spines. So these spines prevent the desert plants from the loss of water. And these spines also prevents the desert plants from grazing animals. Then how the desert plants prepare their food if it does not have leaves? Yes. So in desert plants the stem is in green color, so the stem prepares food. So this is about desert plants. So children, go to the next question, that is the third question. So children, read the third question. So what are called breathing roots? Give reason. So children, read the question once again. So what are called breathing roots? Give reason. So we have already discussed this breathing roots in the part of plants of marshy areas. So in marshy areas, the presence of water is more. That means a lot of water is there and a sticky soil is there. This sticky soil does not allow the roots to breathe. So that's why in that areas, the roots of the plants come out of the soil and breathe. So that's why those roots are called breathing roots. So children, see the answer and read the answer. In marshy areas, the roots cannot breathe. There, the roots come out of the soil and breathe. Such roots are called breathing roots. So in marshy areas, the soil is sticky. That's why that does not allow the roots to breathe. That's why they come out the soil and breathe. That's why those roots are called breathing roots. And examples for these breathing roots are the roots of mangroves. So children, note this question and answer in your notebook. So children, see the next question, that is fourth question. What are floating plants? Give two examples. So the fourth question is, what are floating plants? Give two examples. Children, we have already discussed about aquatic plants. The plants which live inside the water or on the water are called aquatic plants. In aquatic plants, there are again three types of plants. We have discussed the first one is floating plants, and the second type is fixed plants, and the third one is submerged plants. So the floating plants, what are floating plants? So children, see the answer for this question. So read the answer. The plants which float freely on the surface of water are called floating plants. Example, Lamina, Jessiaea, water hyacinth. So these are the example for the floating plants. So in these plants, so generally their stem is less and the roots are poorly developed. That means they have less stem and the roots are poorly developed and they will float on the surface of the water. That's why these plants are called floating plants. So example, Lamina, Jessiaea and water hyacinth. So children, note down this question and answer in your notebook. So go to the next question. So children, read the fifth question. What are insectivorous plants? Give two examples. So once again, the question is, what are insectivorous plants? Give two examples. Already we have discussed the terrestrial plants aquatic plants, insectivorous plants are the three types of plants. So what are insectivorous plants? So children, let us see the answer for this question. So the answer is, some plants are insect eaters. They are known as insectivorous plants. Example, pitcher plant, Venus flytrap, sundew. So these are the examples for insectivorous plants. Children, we have discussed in our chapter insectivorous plants, that is, some plants does not have a greenery parts. That means that they does not have green parts to prepare their food. So these plants, these insectivorous plants, does not prepare their food by using photosynthesis. So they will depend upon small insects for their food. They will trap the insects and they will eat the insects and digest the insects and they will absorb the nutrients they required. So that's why these plants are called insectivorous plants, because they eat insects. These are called insect eaters. So pitcher plant, Venus flytrap, sundew are examples. So children, note down this question and answer in your notebook. So children, go to the next question. So the next activity in the exercise is complete the sentences. So children, so look at the screen. So there are 5 sentences given in this activity, and we have to write the suitable word for each sentences. So they have already given some words below the sentences. So look at that words given below the sentences. So the first word given is spines, and the second word is marshy, and the third word is terrestrial, and fourth word is hilly region, and fourth one is floating. So these are the answers for the above sentences, but we have to choose the suitable word for the given sentences for getting answer. So children, read the first sentence. The leaves of desert plants are reduced to dash. The leaves of desert plants are reduced to dash. Children, already we have discussed in the previous activity that desert plants does not have leaves. The leaves are reduced to spines, because spines prevents the desert plants from loss of water. So the answer for the first sentence is spines. So write the word spines in the blank. So spines is the answer for the first sentence. So children, read the second sentence. Water hyacinth is a dash plant. So children, what is the second sentence? Water hyacinth is a dash plant. So already we have discussed in the previous activity. So water hyacinth is an aquatic plant, and especially there are 3 types of aquatic plants, that is floating plant and fixed plants and submerged plants. So among these 3 types, water hyacinth belongs to floating plant type category. So the answer for the second sentence is floating. So water hyacinth is a floating plant. So children, read the third sentence. Plants that grow on land are called dash plants. So read again. Plants that grow on land are called dash plants. So children, we have already discussed different types of plants. So some plants will grow on the land, and some plants will grow near the water bodies, and some plants will grow near the hills. So the plants that grow on the land are called terrestrial plants. So the answer for the third sentence is terrestrial. So terrestrial plants means the plants which grow on the land are called terrestrial plants, and the plants which live in the water are called aquatic plants. So children, read the fourth sentence. The mangroves grow in the dash area. So once again read the sentence. The mangroves grow in the dash area. Children, mangroves grow especially in marshy areas because they have a lot of water and sticky soil. So mangroves generally grow in marshy areas. The answer is marshy. So write the word marshy in the blank. So the mangroves grow in the marshy areas, especially mangroves will grow in the regions where a river will join with the sea. So at those places where the river joins the seas, the mangroves will grow in those regions. We have already discussed in our India, the largest mangrove forest is, what is that? So can you remember the name of the largest mangrove forest in our world? That is Sundarban forest, Sundarban mangrove forest, which is located in West Bengal. So Sundarban mangrove forest. So children, read the fifth sentence. Dash trees have needle-like leaves. Dash trees have needle-like leaves. So the plants which grow in the hill region have needle-like leaves. So the answer is hilly region. So the hilly region trees have needle-like leaves because generally in hill regions there is a frequent rainfall and snowfall. So that's why these needle-like leaves does not leave the snow to settle on their surfaces, and the snow will fall down because of this needle-like shape of their leaves. So this needle-like leaves does not allow the snow to settle on their surfaces. So if the snow settle on their surfaces, the snow will close the stomata and it will prevent the photosynthesis process. That's why the shape of the hilly region trees have needle-like leaves. So children, these are the answers for the given sentences. Children, note down these sentences in your notebook. So children, go to the next activity in the exercise part. So the next activity is name these. So we have to identify the names of some plants. So they have given some sentences. So by reading that sentences, we have to identify the name of that plants. So some name of the plants are given below the sentences. We have to choose the suitable word for each sentences for getting answer. So the given answers are, so they have already given some words given below the sentences. So read that words once again. So the first word is lotus, second one is water hyacinth, and the third one is cactus, fourth one is pitcher plant, and the fifth one is pine, and the sixth one is hydrilla. So these are the answers they have already given, but we have to choose the suitable answer for each sentence. So let us read the first sentence. A fixed aquatic plant. So among these plants, we have to identify which one is the fixed aquatic plant. So we have some examples for fixed aquatic plant, that is lotus, water lily. So these are the examples for the fixed aquatic plant. So lotus is here. So write the lotus for the first sentence. So lotus is a fixed aquatic plant. So children, read the second sentence. A floating aquatic plant. So among these given words, we have to identify which one is a floating aquatic plant. So already we have discussed examples for the floating aquatic plant. So the common examples for the floating aquatic plants are lemina, Jessiaea, water hyacinth. So these are the common examples for floating plants. So among these given words, the water hyacinth is here. So write the word water hyacinth for the second sentence. So the answer for the second sentence is water hyacinth, which is a floating aquatic plant. So children, read the third sentence. A submerged aquatic plant. So the third type of aquatic plant is a submerged aquatic plant. So that means these plants grows completely inside the water. That means the whole plant body, that means both stems, leaves and roots, the total plant whole body will grow inside the water. So that type of plants are called submerged plants. And examples for submerged plants are hydrilla and vallisneria, etc. So here hydrilla is given. So write the word hydrilla in the third sentence. So the answer for the third sentence is hydrilla. So it is a submerged aquatic plant. So we have already discussed about hydrilla. So hydrilla cleans and purifies the water. So by removing carbon dioxide present in it. So this is some special feature about the hydrilla plant. So children, read the fourth sentence, a desert plant. So among cactus, pitcher plant, pine, so which one is a desert plant? So children, can you identify? So which one is a desert plant? Cactus or pitcher plant or pine? Yes, cactus is a desert plant. So cactus is a desert plant which does not have leaves, and it has a thick stem which is present in green color. It prepares its food. Next, children, read the fifth sentence, an insectivorous plant. So already we have discussed in the previous activity. So the insectivorous plants means insect eaters. These plants especially eat insects. They cannot prepare their food with photosynthesis process. So the insectivorous plants is which one? Pitcher plant or pine tree? Yes, pitcher plant. So pitcher plant is an insectivorous plant because the pitcher plant has a jar-like structure which contains a sweet syrup or a sweet fluid, and insects will come near to that pitcher and it will fall down in the pitcher, and the pitcher will be closed by a lid like leaf, and the tree eat that insect and digest it. So this is about pitcher plant, which we are already discussed in the lesson. So the answer for the fifth sentence is pitcher plant. So children, read the sixth sentence, a plant growing in hilly area. So the plants which grow in hilly areas are generally in conical shape. That's why these plants are also called coniferous trees. So the examples for these plants are pine tree and spruce tree, fir tree, so cedar tree. So these are the examples for the plants which grow in hill areas, and here the pine tree is given. So write the word pine for the sixth sentence. So the answer for the sixth sentence is pine tree. So the plants which grow in hill areas are generally in conical shape. So pine tree is also in conical shape. We can observe this pine trees generally hill areas like Mussoorie, Kodaikanal, Darjeeling, Nainital. If you go to these tourist places, you can observe there these pine trees. So children, these are the answers for the given six sentences. So note down these 6 sentences in your notebook.